I was talking to my therapist today about how everything I do takes like 3 times as long as it used to, or it's supposed to, or it feels like it's supposed to. And there's always just like miscommunications or like weird new rules or like weird new policies that like take a bunch of my time and energy and effort and change constantly. And it's really triggering to me personally as a kid who grew up on like state assistance and was always like interminably like waiting in waiting rooms for like 5 hours to see a doctor, and like everything was always sort of wrong, and there were always all these forms you had to fill out, and if you filled out the form like a little bit wrong, like you had to start all over again. And it's just really stressful because it feels like i I had made a promise to myself that if I sacrificed enough to get into a place where I was a middle class person and I had a college degree and I had all these things, business, whatever, that I could never, I didn't have to go back there, right? And now I am, just as a person who's paying like literally thousands of dollars for health insurance, right? Like I'm back there. Um and it scares me and it makes me feel small and unsafe, because we are, right? It feels unsafe because it is, because we're unsafe here in the US, right? We as a country have spent hundreds of years undermining the infrastructure of of other nations so that we could rob them blind, and now it's happening to us. And that's kind of a natural extension of how that works, right? It makes perfect sense logically that this is happening to us, and yet it's still really frustrating and stupid. And like I said earlier, I was talking to my therapist about it, and she's like, yeah, that's end stage capitalism, that's collapse, that's economic collapse, that's like what's happening right now. And I'm just like, that makes me feel affirmed in my understanding of what's going on, but it doesn't make me feel better about how much everything takes out of me, these basic things that should be much easier, that used to be much easier, that I know for a fact could be easier. And it just, I've been feeling a lot lately like time has no meaning anymore. It certainly doesn't have the meaning it used to have anymore. And I'm like more affirmed in that than ever. And I don't necessarily know what that means for my own like strategy going forward, but things I used to be able to assign a time to, a time expectation of time, I can no longer do that. And so I think doing things like requiring people to be at work 40 hours a week, even we, at New Coyote, we require people to be at work no more than 20 hours a week. Like you could cut it off at 10 if you felt like it, if you got your shit done, right? But even 20 hours a week, like any number is a stupid number in these times. Like time based work is no longer relevant. It makes no sense when it could take 15 minutes or 3 fucking hours to get a prescription filled, right? Like it doesn't mean anything anymore.